So I've experienced this phenomenon before, and maybe you've experienced this as well. But it's this experience where, for example, let's just say I'm upset about something. And, I'm busy being upset about it. I'm busy reminding myself and reiterating how I'm right and they're wrong, or whatever the situation is. And I'm just completely invested and immersed in this world of being upset. And I'm angry and I don't want it to be there, but it is. And I'm trying to like justify that I'm right and grounded in feeling like that. And all the dynamics of being irritated. I'm just irritated, And then this very interesting thing happens where, without even noticing it, I kind of drift off from being angry and am busy doing something else, whether that's cleaning or if I'm at work or I'm out on a walk or anything. It could be anything. The idea is that I drift away from the active engagement of being angry. And then, this is the interesting part. Suddenly this thought occurs to me. Wait, what was I angry about? And in that moment, I'm no longer angry. But then I remember what it was that I was angry about. And once I remember, I resume being angry. I pick back up being angry. I continue where I left off. This is a very interesting situation because I was just angry. I forgot why I was angry and that I was angry and carried on with my day. Through the neuro impulses and urges of the mind, I get this thought, wait, wasn't I angry a minute ago? What was I angry about? I'm reiterating why I was angry. What was I angry about? And then I remember what I was angry about and I resume being angry. This must have happened to you before. I mean, maybe not with anger. Maybe it was something like you were excited. You ever been really excited to do something and then you forget what you were excited to do and you go, what the hell, man? Like, I was so excited to do this thing. And then your excitement has no route to go through. It doesn't know, it's formless, it's non-localized now, it's just excitement, and you're like, I was excited to do something, what the hell, I can't remember what I was excited to do. And then you remember and it's like, oh yeah, that's right, and you continue being excited to do that thing. That's what I'm talking about. I've experienced that as well, and that's what I'm talking about with the anger thing, where I'm irritated about something. And then just through the happenings of the day, I forget that I'm irritated and what it was I'm irritated about. And then this thought comes up, wasn't I irritated about something? What was I mad about? And once I remember, I reinvest myself and my energy into that anger and continue being irritated. It's a weird, very weird thing, and it shows we're constantly reminding ourselves of why we feel the way we do. We're constantly reiterating to ourselves that of why we feel the way we do inside. Even though that we can go about our day we're attached. We're attached is kind of what I'm trying to say. Where we're holding on so tightly to this thought or this feeling or this emotion or the circumstances of how a situation went down. Like if something made you angry and you're holding on to that. But then we literally possess the ability to forget about it. To completely let it go. But then we remind ourselves. We remind ourselves and we resume being angry about it. Even though it mentally and emotionally and chemically and neurologically completely left your system for a period of time. For some reason you remembered and reminded yourself of why you were angry and what it was you were angry about, and then started being angry again. It's very interesting. I hope you know what I'm talking about here. Like, you ever, like, gotten in an argument with somebody and it didn't really go down so well? I mean, arguments don't usually go down well, but the argument doesn't go down so well, and then it kind of just boils over and there's a big bomb of nonsense, and then some days go by and you're more collected, you're more kosher with that person or whatever it is, and then suddenly you remember the argument and you get mad again. And it's like reigniting a fire. It's like blowing air on the ashes of a fire from days ago. You know? That's really what I'm talking about. We're not flowing with the moment. I mean, I guess if you really want to get complicated, you can see that remembering what was I angry about and then getting angry again is a part of the moment. But that when we possess the ability to work on ourselves, to heal ourselves, to better ourselves, to think in psychologically more healthy ways, you begin to see that reminding yourself of why you were angry about something a few days ago and then getting angry about it again, you see how dysfunctional that is. You see how pointless that is. You know what I mean? And not only anger, but as I stated earlier, positivity, excitement, and also anxiety and worry, and perhaps even sadness. These things where we're sad about something, we're angry about something, we're excited about something, we're nervous about something. Then, whether we're distracted or we're in a more of a flow state, a meditative state, and we forget what the object of our emotional state. We forget the object of our excitement. We forget the object of our anger, of our worry. And because of that, because the object of our worry is like the wood, and our emotions, the object of our emotions is like the wood, and our emotions is like the fire on that wood. And when they come together, they burn in this emotional circumstance. But then when we forget the object of our emotions being the wood, the fire has nothing to burn, so therefore isn't present. So when we forget what it was we were angry about, there's no reason to be angry, you know? But then comes along the thought, wait, what was I angry about? Wasn't I pissed off about something a few minutes ago? Wasn't I like in a bad mood? Why am I okay now? Oh, right, that's why I was angry. And then you continue being angry. It's so far out. It's like the rational mind has this moment of irrationality, of just, I mean, it's so weird to call it irrationality. It's for lack of a better term, of what the rational mind does. The rational mind is busy being angry. It's busy being excited. It's busy being anxious and worried about this or that. And then, for some reason, we have the ability to forget why we're angry, why we're sad, why we're excited, why we're concerned and worried about something. And because we forget the object of that, the state naturally recedes. The chemicals, whatever it is that modulates the emotional response we have, recedes and calms down and quiets and becomes still and even. And we may find ourselves in another emotional state. But then, like a hiccup, like a little ripple on the ocean. Wasn't I angry? Wasn't I sad about something? Wait, wasn't I excited to do? This thought comes up. And that provokes thinking about what it was that you're trying to remember. That thought provokes the urge to try and remember the cause of the emotional state a few minutes ago or a few days ago or whatever it was. And then you remember, and then it's like you pick right back up where you left off. You know? You know, you've seen memes go around of like, how we're still traumatized by the embarrassing and cringy things we did 10, 15 years ago when we were little kids. I I sure as hell feel that still. Like, I look at, like, old Facebook posts or old pictures or whatever it is, and I go, oh my God. Or I remember something I did in school as a young kid, and I'm just like, all this cringiness of why was I doing that? Oh, it's so weird, man. You know what I mean? It all kind of comes back to life, and it's really the same thing that I'm talking about here, is that it's like, I don't know, man. It's like all these emotional states are like wood waiting for the fire of our engagement, for the fire of our reactivity, you know? And when we're present to give it life, to ignite it, it goes up in flames, and it's active, and it's burning, it's powerful, you know? It's weird. It's weird. It shows. I've seen this before because I did it one time. I've done it multiple times, but one time I really saw. Whoa! What the hell am I doing? I'm reminding myself of why I was being angry, and then continuing to be angry. I was just fine. Why am I sitting here psychologically fucking sifting through my files of drama, looking for what it was that I was angry about, and then like continuing to be angry? Like, what the hell did I just do? It was a moment of seeing into once again, the complexity of the mind and the sort of the causal roots of why the world is the way it is today and why we function the way we do in this time. You know, when I see that kind of stuff, it's like, oh, right, this is why people are perpetually angry for 60 plus years. This is why people are perpetually sad and depressed from something that happened 60 years ago. You know, they're reigniting, they're constantly reminding and reiterating to themselves the negative state, the negative circumstance. Even though it has the ability to go, you have the ability to let it die out, to let it go, to let it be the past. Or if it's the future, to let it be when it comes, you know? If you're worrying about the future or angry about the future, whatever it is, you know? We have the ability to not give a shit, man. We have the ability to not constantly be like building our foundation on a bed of sand, you know? Something that's constantly like just at the whim of all these thoughts and emotions and feelings, you know, where you remember something and boom, you're angry. You remember something and boom, you're depressed. You remember something and boom, you have a panic attack. You know, and it's, of course, we want to be able to remind ourselves of something positive and feel love as well, but that's, although it's comprised of love and positivity, it's the same function of the mind, where it reminds itself or it remembers something and then reinvests and dives back into that energetic state, you know? It's weird, man. It's weird. Like, what I did to see this was look at what my mind was saying. I looked at what my mind was doing. I did the thing called being the observer, or mindfulness, or whatever you want to call it, and I saw that my mind was angry in one moment, then it forgot that it was angry and therefore wasn't angry, and then it reminded itself, it wondered, wasn't I angry, and then reminded itself of why it was angry, and then carried on being angry. When I saw that whole thing happen, I was like, bruh, like, what am I doing? Like, what is this mind doing? No wonder I feel the way I do. No wonder I think the way I think. No wonder I can't let this and that go. I'm sitting here constantly reminding myself of all of it. You know what I mean? Hi, sweet boy. Oh, no, I'm going to get you down, Bubba. This is my kitty. I've heard it put before that if you take a moment to just listen to what your mind is saying to itself, it's kind of alarming. It's kind of alarming how just the negative, toxic self-talk and inner dialogue that we have. Putting ourselves down, putting others down, judging ourselves, being hypercritical of our appearance or the way we feel or what we've been through or the appearance and what others have been, what the experiences of others, just judging and putting down and being toxic and or feeling right and better than everyone, feeling superior and thinking that others are inferior and not as good as you, or feeling like you're not as good as others. When you listen, whatever you are, whatever you feel yourself to be, the thing that's watching this video right now, when you step back from your own mind and look at what that mind is saying habitually and cyclically, you will see into the nature of why you feel the way you do. You will get a different, you're standing in a different vantage point, and you're going to get another look at just why you feel the way you do. You're going to see, oh, right. The reason I'm saying that is because of that. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? When you stand as the observer, you see how your mind is just, it's like nuclear fission, you know? An atomic bomb where when that atom breaks, it makes that one break and that one break and that one break and that one break and that one. It's a chain reaction of energy. That's what our minds are doing. It's like a nuclear bomb going off inside our minds every moment, where every thought is this bomb that sets off the energy of another thought, another bomb, and it's just this stew of unresolved energy. It's this soup of untied ends, you know? And we're constantly reasserting our emotional and psychological states. We're not letting things go. We're not letting things flow, you know? We're caught. We're stuck. We're affirming our own negativity to ourselves. We're constantly reiterating to ourselves why we feel the way we do. And the way we tend to feel is not always the best, you know? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here. It's far out. The power of affirmation, the power of mantra, the power of positive thinking is that it creates an alternative habit, an alternative routine of thinking, where rather than waking up and going, here we go again, you wake up and go, here we are again. I get to be here again. If you don't take the initiative to shift that narrative, you're going to wake up complaining every single day until you do take that initiative. You know? It's hard, too. It's hard to make those habit changes, to change those habits and those routines and those patterns and cycles and loops of thinking, of negative self-talk, or in this instance that I'm talking about here, reminding yourself of the negativity and then continuing to be negative, even though you were just in this space of freedom and liberation from it. It's like we're attached to it. It's like we want to be stewing in it because we think that that's going to, like, resolve it or something. Who knows? Who knows why we remind ourselves of our pain? You know what I mean? Or like, for example, I'm over here talking about affirmations, you know, repeating and reiterating good and positive and lightful things to ourselves. Think of somebody who, and I'm going to say this as innocently as I can, someone who has a dear loved one pass away, and then they keep a picture of them on their dashboard in their car. So every time they get in the car, they see this person, but it's not, the way they feel towards that situation is grief and pain and despair and heartbreak. So rather than seeing that person and that acting as a reminder of love and that person's freedom and the memories and the joy, it's acting as a reminder and a reiteration of their pain and despair. So that's not a good reminder. And this isn't to say to let go of the fact and reality of that loved one has passed, but it's to say, take inventory and look at what it is that you're reminding yourself of, or what it is that these objects, the picture of that loved one, is reminding you of. What's that picture of that loved one reminding you of? How's it making you feel when you see it? You know what I mean? Maybe you need some space from that. Maybe you need some time to integrate and to settle down a little bit inside, rather than constantly reminding yourself of the pain. Or when someone leaves you, you're in a relationship and you guys break up. So you lay on your bed for the next 6 months listening to you and that person's song that you listened to when you were madly head over heels in love with each other. And you're just living in that pain. And boy, yeah, sure, you do feel alive and it feels rich and deep, but you're reminding yourself of the pain. You're reminding yourself of the pain because it's some way of continuing to carry on what's left, the ashes of that situation that you loved that has now left you. These are different examples of holding on to our pain and not letting it go. Not letting it go. And that kind of diverges into a whole other conversation where we can see that we're not ready to let go of our pain. We're not ready to not be upset about this or that. When a window of opportunity comes to be liberated from that thing that we're suffering about, we say, hold on, I'm not quite done suffering over this yet. That's what we're energetically saying about it. We're saying, hold on, I want to listen to this song and wallow just a few more times before I can listen to this song and smile and say, wow, that was a wild time. It was a wild time and I learned so much, And I want to make clear, both of those periods are absolutely integral, absolutely necessary, absolutely relevant to the blossoming of our being, the heartbreak and the opening of the heart, the healing of the heart. A lot of us are not ready to be done being upset about this or that. Hence, how we remind ourselves of why we're angry and sad and worried, and then continue being upset about all of it. I've literally experienced it myself where I was heartbroken over this situation. I was just pain and despair and just pain. And I caught this glimpse of, I not only saw it, but I felt it for a moment. I felt freedom. I felt liberated from the pain. I was no longer in pain for a moment. And you know what, guys? It scared the hell out of me. It scared the hell out of me. Because that freedom had so little to do with who I thought I was. Because who I thought I was someone who was heartbroken over this thing that had happened to them. And I wasn't ready to be someone who wasn't afflicted by that anymore. I was still busy being someone who's heartbroken over this thing. So when I felt freedom from that thing, I ran away from it as fast as I could because it was so foreign. It was so unfamiliar territory to not be upset about that thing, you know? And you can't blame us, because all these things, grief and pain and all this stuff, has a cycle, a natural cycle. But that cycle can really only carry out organically when we are aligned. And to put it in other terms, being aligned means living healthily, living in a wise way, living in a way that is aware of all the different facets of why you are, how you operate, and how others operate, and how life is. Living in harmony with the flow of life, with the flow of universe. That's what it means to be aligned. And when you're aligned, yeah, you're going to get upset. Yeah, you're going to get sad. Yeah, you're going to get angry. Yeah, you're going to grieve and mourn and get ripped angry about stuff. It's all still going to happen, but it's going to move right through you like a sieve. You're like a channel. You're like a vessel that all the experience of life run through you and run through you and run through you. And when you're not in alignment, your body acts like a dam that grabs all these events and creates these sort of energetically cancerous thoughts and emotions and feelings, and all this stuff just gets caught up in you, and you become this hurricane, this disaster, because you're a dam and you're not letting life go. You're not letting life move through you. You're not flowing with life. You're exhausting yourself fighting the current of the river of life. You know? When we're ready to stop reminding ourselves of our own pain, we're going to stop reminding ourselves of it. But for as long as we're not ready to be done being in pain, we're going to continue to remind ourselves of why we're in pain. And we're going to still be readily volatile towards that situation. Where when something happens, it sets off that nuclear bomb inside you. And you are just complete emotional and psychological reactivity to that thing. We're going to do that for precisely as long as we need to, until we're ready to not do that anymore. I just wanted to make this video to talk about just how interesting that is. And how far out it is that we forget our pain, and then remind ourselves, oh yeah, that's right, I was busy being in pain. I'm going to carry on being in pain now. Not taking note of the fact that we were just free. We were free when we let it go, but we're not ready to let it go. We're not ready to be done. So yeah, very far out, very far out. That is one of the perhaps infinite facets of just the complexity of the human mind and life itself, and one of the roots, as I stated earlier, one of the causal roots into seeing why we are the way we are, why life and society is the way it is. Look into what your mind is saying, and you'll start to kind of get a glimpse of why things are the way they are, or more importantly and more personally, why you are the way that you are. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later in the next video. Namaste.